Hi, I'm Krista with Adio Chiropractic, and I'm here with Dr. Gabriel Long, and we are just going to be telling a little bit more about our Fishbowl campaign. So why are we making this video?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we are seeing a lot of talk on the AMP Facebook page, and we're like, there's got to be a good way to organize all of this. It's an idea of mass marketing, right? So how can we do the least but have the biggest return? So we put together an entire campaign for you guys. We've been executing it over the last 3 to 4 months. It's had a lot of fruit come about from it, and we just wanted to share everything with you.
Yeah, sounds great. So what's a good goal for how many of these fish bowls for you to be placing at businesses?
Definitely. So we put out 20. We highly recommend put out 20, put out 30, as many as your team can control. Everybody's in a little bit different spot, but I think 20 is a good spot depending on where you're at and how many food places are around you.
Mm-hmm. And then once they have the bowl, you go to the business, you talk to the manager. Why do you need to be talking to the manager when you drop these off?
Yeah, so what we were seeing is fish bowls were disappearing on us. We were going through, we were kind of setting them out. We had a brief conversation with them. We come back a week later excited to pick up all the cards, and it was gone, or it was filled with tips and had, our stickers ripped off. Yeah, for sure. So we tried to figure out a way to make that a little more stable. So what we did, everybody knows we put the stickers on the front, but it was really putting a sticker on the back for the team that's looking at it. It's an idea when you go in there and you talk with the manager, it's kind of holding them accountable when you're telling them everything that you want to do. Have them write their name on the bowl, take a picture of that as well, so you have track of it, and you can hold them accountable, because there's too many times we went back and they're like, you didn't have permission from the manager. And we did, but we have no way to prove that we did. And it makes our business look bad in their eyes.
Yeah, and it benefits them because it's going to be boosting their catering as well. So it's kind of a win-win, and that's one more talking point when you're talking to that manager. That's going to be helping out their business as well.
Definitely. So when you go into these spaces, first of all, your good avatars. Right here by Adio, we have a place called Little Richie's, this little pizza joint, mom and pop shop from, I guess not really, I thought it wasn't. We don't have any in Iowa. Oh. But Little Richie's, find yourself a bunch of different spaces. So we have a Subway, we have an Italian place called Carrabba's, Mediterranean place called Garbanzo's. We love the coffee shops and the bagels. There's nothing better than doing a coffee and bagels in the morning, because we can even build even more value when we're giving those talks, because when you go to the business, like, you want coffee and donuts, we're going to start your day out on a high note. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I really enjoyed the coffee and bagels. It also starts our day out on a great note as well. So those are always ones that we really want to pursue hard. We have a Dickey's barbecue pit, but any of these places that do catering, they'll be willing to make a deal with you as you keep working with them. Maybe not so much in the beginning, but as you keep working with them, you can negotiate on those prices.
Yeah, and then once you drop this off, how long do you let it kind of sit there to get as many cards as possible before you start checking them?
That's a really good question. So there's 2 different avenues here. So if you are not in practice yet, we're going to be moving to Omaha here, and we're going to start putting fish bowls out immediately, even before our 100-day, 90-day marketing campaign. We're going to be very clear with our communication when we go into there to the manager and just tell them, like, hey, here's what we're looking to do. We're not going to be doing our health talks and starting to set up appointments for about a month or so. So we're going to let this marinate, really let it start to collect, build a nest of these people who are putting their cards in. And then slowly but surely, as we get close to the time where we want to set events, a few weeks out from opening, or a few months actually, you can start setting all these health talks up. So the idea, our goal is to set, in our practice, we want to set 40 of these health talks, which makes them crazy, but it's just like, we've seen so much fruit from this system that 40 health talks prior to opening has been, it's a complete expectation for us now. It's worked so well. Yeah. So when you go into these shops, we'll kind of hit the bullet points of what we talk on. We introduce ourselves, obviously, tell them that we're looking to partner and connect with other businesses. There's something kind of cool. So if, let's say you haven't set any up yet, we let them know, everybody we talk to, say, hey, we've already talked with Carrabba's, we talked to Subway. Whether they said yes or no, it doesn't matter. We talked to them, so, right? If you did, if you started partnering with some other places, name drop that. But if you don't have anybody yet, just tell them who to talk to. Yeah. It kind of works the same way, and they're not going to know the difference. Let them know we're doing a bi-weekly drawing or a weekly drawing for lunch for whoever puts their card in. we're going to email them out when we pull their card. They've won free lunch for their entire work, whether it's 20 people, whether it's 200 people, right? We're really building value for boosting their catering. Tell them we need at least 3 weeks. If you're in practice now, set them out. We encourage you to set a bunch out as fast as you can, but tell them give us 3 or 4 weeks to really let this thing fill up. It's going to take a little bit of time to negotiate on, what day and time and how many people and all that. So let them know it's going to be about a month investment at the beginning, but then we're going to have consistent catering. And the great thing is once you start working with places, you can tell them tell them, hey, we've spent $400 in catering this month through Chick-fil-A or wherever you're able to do it. It really builds a lot more value. So it's almost exponential as you get the ball rolling. You can see even more momentum build.
Yeah, and that's great. And so then you go to the business, you drop off the fishbowl, you talk to the manager, get their approval. What do you do after that point as far as keeping track of where you drop them off, who you talk to, who's in charge, things like that?
So we talked about putting the name on the back, the manager's name on the back, taking a picture of that. And then we add everything to a master whiteboard that allows us to keep track of everything, because it can get a little confusing when you have a lot of these out in the in the community. So we created a whiteboard. We wish we would have found some thinner tape. We just made 20 rows here. So what we have here, we have all of our locations, the address of that location, the manager. Now the big thing about understanding who your manager is as we begin catering through these businesses, we want to make sure that we call and order through that specific manager, so they're specifically seeing the fruit from them, allowing us to keep the fishbowl there. So, and then you let them know, it's like, hey, these first few times we just want to let you know personally that this is working for you, and then as we move through, we can start just working with other people, just call in and order. We obviously the best phone number. Now here at ADIO, we have a lot of interns, so we've divided them up. So whoever you're going to have leading your fishbowl campaign, this kind of holds them accountable. And also the last date that you picked them up. So we recommend, what we've been doing is about every other week or so, you take all of those cards and then you just put your most recent day. So we can actually, as interns, hold each other accountable and say, hey, how come this hasn't been picked up since February 1st, right? Now the cool thing is once you start catering to these businesses, you can hold yourself accountable and see exactly how many times you've catered through them. That's also going to continue to build value in the future for you. So this we made this, and it's actually allowed us to hold ourselves more accountable, and it's created a little more. We're just seeing seeing better fruit from it because we can see where everything's at once. So this is a vital aspect. We just have this hanging up in the team room. Yeah,
that way everybody can see, you can keep each other accountable and who's working on what. Yep.
Very cool.
And so then after you've dropped off that fishbowl, you have it on here. And then also, as far as going in and collecting it, how often do you go and collect cards? Do you collect all the cards all at one time? What do you do with that?
Yeah, so give it a couple weeks. It'd be ideal to go every other week. Take all the cards that you have. Let's say you go to Subway and you get 20 cards, wrap those up in a rubber band, put a little sticky note on there that says Subway on Colfax, because you may have multiple Subways. We have a lot of Dickey's barbecue pits. That's worked really, really well for us. But you go around to all these places, just take a lunch break or have an employee do it for you. But you go around all these places once or every other week. You get all these cards. Now let's say from the 20 fish bowls, you've collected 100 cards. What we're going to do is we're going to take, since we're only doing every other week, we're going to take 50 of those. We're going to reach out to them this week. We're going to take 50 of them. We're going to reach out to them next week, so that we can always have a constant flow that we're reaching out to, and that we don't overschedule if we do too much too fast. So that's been really good for us to kind of spread it out.
And it gives you more time to collect even more cards. So you're dividing into different weeks, and while this is accruing even more cards for the next time you go to pick it up. So it's just constantly feeding itself.
And if you're not in practice, still go around and take those cards out. Don't take all of them out. I always find that the more cards are in there, it makes me want to put my card in there. If I see it's empty, there's not a lot of value in that for me. But so as you're opening and you're going through your marketing process and you're not even opening yet, go back into Subway and take half of them out of there and stockpile them, because you don't know if that fishbowl is going to go missing on you, and at least you can start to build that nest egg prior to even opening, which is great. And then let's say you've created, let's go big and say you created 1,000, you have 1,000 cards prior to opening. You don't want to reach out to all 1,000, so break it up over the course of time, whether it's 50 a week or 100 a week. That way you can stay consistent as you open as well. You're not opening up, having all these health talks, and then things get busy and you're not doing it anymore. And then what happens is everything starts to go down.
Yeah.
You get more busy, you don't have time for this. You may not be staffed for people to run all of this as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so you want to space it out for sure. And so then also when you have all of these cards, as far as keeping them in order and knowing how to contact these people who you've contacted, what do you do for those cards?
So this is a very, very big section of what we wanted to cover. So I'll give that to you. Every card. So let's go back to we're going to be reaching out to 50 people. Every single card we staple to a sheet like this. The date that you collect it goes up in the top left. That whoever, in our office, we have a lot of interns. So whichever intern is running through that marketing campaign with them. Now what you're going to do, you take these 50 people. Now we've uploaded a lot of emails to this video. So what I've done here, including this page. Now this page it's probably hard to see, but some numbers inside these boxes. These numbers coordinate with a very specific email that's been uploaded. So email number 1 is obviously numbered 1 on the uploaded emails for you. So we send email number 1 out to everybody. Now what we've found is work on your fishbowls 1 day a week. Pick a day. For us, it worked really well with Tuesdays because we're off Tuesday mornings from serving patients. So we send out our initial email out to everybody. Now we BCC everybody on that email, so they think that they're the only person that's receiving that email. We have it all pre-populated, change the name, change the practice, and send that out to everybody. Now, what you want to do as soon as you send out that email, there's a lot of people who have blocks on their email that prevent, if there's like 60 people on an email, it'll automatically send it back to you. It won't go into their inbox. What we found is right after you send all those emails, you're going to have about 50 of these sheets in your hands. Go through, because you're going to get an email back if it kicks back. You can go through and you can pull out each one. That way, next week, when you reach out to everybody again, you're not getting those same kickbacks. What we've done is the ones that kick back to us, we send an individual email. If it's still not working, we move on.
And you prefer to do, they do lose. And then you would email them. You don't want to just give them a call. You just email them.
So what we've found is emails working best. We had a very low return with phone calls, but a non-invasive way is with going through the emails. We've had a lot better return rather than making phone calls. So let's we need to lay out the 31 days. So let's talk about this, and we're going to come back to this sheet. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So we created a filing system. It's probably tough to see. These are numbered 1 through 31. They correlate with the day of the month. So with today being the 16th, at the beginning of the shift today, we went to 16. We pulled out everything from the 16th bin. So let's say that we sent out that initial email for the fishbowl. We're going to give them 7 days to reach back out to us. So what we do is we take this date's the 16th. We're going to add 7 days. So what we're going to do after we send all these 50 emails, we're going to take all 50 of them, clip them together, and we're going to put them into the number 23 bin. The morning of the 23rd, we're going to come through and be like, oh, here's all of the people that haven't reached back out. Now, let's say somebody responds to us. Like, hey, that would be great. We'd love to do that.
Yeah.
We can see the date that we sent our email. It was on the 23rd.
Yeah, because you've already
on the 16th.
Down. Yeah.
Yep. So we know it's going to be 7 days later. So I go into the 23 bin. I pull out their very specific paper and I put it into a separate folder. Down through here, we have one that's called pending. So all of the ones that we're negotiating and we haven't scheduled 100% go into our pending folder. Okay. And then you can go through all your negotiations with them, find out what day, time, how many people there's going to be. If there's a different location than what's on their card, these are all things that you want to get, and they're all pre-populated in those emails. As you move down, bring this up real quick. This is just your progression. So this left column is everything that you need to do prior to setting that scheduled lunch and learn. Once you get that date, they're like, hey, we want to do the 28th. We want to do it at 8 a.m. Great, you're going to write your date and time here, and then it has everything that you need to do. And you can hold yourself accountable. So you initial, there's boxes, you'll just initial them and date them. So let's go through here. So you sent your first email out to everybody, and what we're going to do, we're going to briefly go through this. So let's take that sheet. We're going to take all 50 of them as soon as we make them, and they're going to go into the first email folder. Okay. So let's say we're going to make our first calls tomorrow.
Okay.
We collected a bunch of cards. We're going to reach out to everybody for the first time tomorrow.
Okay.
All 50 of those are going to be in the first email folder.
Okay.
Okay. As soon as we send that first email out to them, we're going to take them out of the first email folder. We're going to put them into the second email folder.
Okay.
So these folders also correlate to these first 5 boxes through here. You have first email, second email, third email. Then we're gonna give them 2 opportunities for a comp evaluation. Okay. So you can hold on to that one. So we do have a bunch of them in here because we're already doing it. So what we have here, the day that you pull it, let's say today we're getting ready to send out a bunch of emails. So we have all the people that we're sending our first emails to, all the people that we need to send our second emails to that didn't respond from last week's first email.
Okay.
And then as you progress on, if they don't respond, they'll get another email the following Tuesday. If they don't respond, another email the following Tuesday. And as soon as they do respond, we take them out, we put them in pending, or we put them in declined. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So first email, second email, third email. Then we go to first comp eval, second comp eval. And if they don't respond after the 5, we put them into our Dinner with the Doc campaign.
Okay.
Simple enough.
I mean, you can just see just from these folders, this is just starting out how many businesses have dropped out cards, how many people that they've been reaching out to, and just being the chiropractic assistant at the front desk as far as talking to these people when they're coming in. Every single day has been really, really busy just from these health talks. I mean, this is amazing. This is just the beginning of this campaign, and this is how many we have so far.
Definitely. So pretty good system. So let's say that they email us back and they're like, hey, we would love to have you. And as soon as, I'll give you that, as soon as they respond to us, down here it says once they respond, we're going to send an email to get the number of people, the date, the time, and the location. You can hold yourself accountable by putting your initials here, putting the date there, and then it would go into 2 days later, however long you want to give them for response, so you can check back in with them. Now, once they set the date, they're like, hey, we want to do the 28th at noon. You're going to add that event to your Google Calendar or however you hold track of your appointments. What we're going to do is we're going to send a confirmation email that's mandatory for them to respond to. We have that pre-populated. It's number 7. So email number 7, once they send and say, hey, we want to do next Thursday, we're like, great. We're going to send out email number 7 out to them. Confirm, it says on there, mandatory for you to respond to this to be 100% approved for the talk. Now, if it's less than a week out, if it's like 2 days out that they want to do it, great. Then show up on that day, bring the food, go to plan. If it's over a week out, if we're going, let's say the talk's in 2 weeks, we're going to send one more email confirmation that it's not necessary for them to respond to, but we do have it in there that, hey, if anything's wrong with all of the stuff that we're doing for 50 people at noon, if any of this information is wrong, email us back. But it's not
if they have any updates, it could be adding people on even. So we just want to be able to know that beforehand.
And just as a place for you to keep track of how many people, initial it when you've ordered your food, and then the time of the pickup, because it may not be, you may be adjusting people and having a team member go get the food, meeting you at the event, doing the intro, and then you just show up and give your talk and you're back in the office. You're there, you're talking for 10 minutes. Our goal was always 10 minutes. Josiah and I would go back and forth, who could get the most appointments with the most direct talk. It was always goal 8 to 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. We come back and you give your time, you give how many paid appointments you set up. So it was really cool. If the address isn't at the location on the card, you always want to make sure we have a very easy way to keep track of that, because that's, you don't want to be showing up to the wrong place, right? And then always sending a thank you note after the talk. So you give your talk, we send a thank you note. We've actually created a document that's attached at the bottom here that the whole idea is how many people in the business did you not reach out? You want to have a leave behind for them. So it's just a little flyer that says, hey, we missed you. Has some comp evals in there. It's just a way to you're not 100% out of their memory now. You're always going to be lingering, and so you just ask them to put it on their bulletin board. Yeah. It's just a great way to keep in touch with them.
Yeah, if someone isn't working that day, they still have the opportunity that all their other coworkers got to be able to come in and get the same opportunity as they were. Yeah, that's great. So what if when the RSVP, we're expecting big numbers, what if it's a smaller group? What if only 5 people are going to be able to show up?
Yeah, so we've set a barrier that if there's less than 5 people, we extend a complimentary evaluation immediately to them. That has been tough. It is kind of tricky, but you have people that are, most people when it's just them or it's one other team member, they'll be like, look, there's only 2 of us, probably not worth it.
Yeah.
But when it's like you get in the 4 and 5 range, they're like, yes, come. And you're like, that's 4 people. But I mean, base hits, right? You go, we've had too many of them. We have some amazing interns in here. We do a lot of these talks. Sometimes you're only 3 or 4 people, but you get 3 or 4 paid appointments out of it. Or even if you were to say 2 of those 4 sign up, that's still, this is consistent basis. We all want to have that 200-person health talk or the 80-person health talk. It's just staying consistent. So you kind of have to make a choice for yourself where your boundaries are. We try to keep it at least 5 or more. If there's less than 5, just invite them in for a complimentary evaluation. We just build value for that. And say that, it's far more valuable. We'd love to have you in the office. Then we invite them with their dinner with the doc as well immediately. So if that's like, they're like giving back or you're getting some resistance on it, you're like, well, we would love to extend and just make it seem like that's what it was supposed to be. You got to do it with the doc. And they're like, just do everything you can to minimize with that because it can be a little bit sticky.
And you just mentioned about a paid deposit. Do you usually do deposits at the Fishbowl events? Do you comp it? What do you prefer to do?
It's an awesome question. In the end, you're going to have to make the choice for yourself, what's right. What we have found, and we saw it all the time, serving in Dr. Zeus's office in Dallas, he always said, take deposits, take deposits. He would do these teacher appreciation days and always deposits. And at the beginning, the certainty wasn't 100% because I hadn't gone out and given a health talk and asked for deposits there. So we started with comps.
Yeah.
We did comp evals. We had very, very high sign-up rates, but it's very easy when someone comes in and brings food to be like, yeah, I'll come in. I'll come in.
Yeah, they're just trying to play nice. Yeah. But yeah, getting that deposit definitely helps. Again, being at the front desk when these people are coming in, and it's noticeable that if they've collected a deposit, they're most likely to show up. So it definitely helps the numbers.
You just think about the amount of work. It's not a lot of work, but if you have a lot of people, you do a 40-person health talk and 40 people set comp evals, you're building all those files and files. That's just extra time.
And for your CAs, that's us calling these people, following up with these people. So yeah, there's a lot of value in collecting those deposits for sure.
And it's all in the close, really. Your certainty with the close is going to make all the difference. It's very valuable what we have, and the better that you can communicate that. People want it, they just need to know that we have what they're looking for.
Exactly, just build all that value. And then say you get some cards in here, of course we're going for local businesses to come into our office. What if someone's from a little bit farther away, like more than 45 minutes or so, where it's going to be kind of a tough drive to get to our office?
Yeah, we did have that recently. We had, we get cards from Arizona and California, and we always audit the cards when we're going through them. Right, and if they do happen to be, we just had one in Boulder, and we reached out to them. It actually slipped through. If we had seen it at the beginning, we would have just passed that along. To, we ended up passing along to Dr. Mike Lynch. But we have a great network of docs in this AMT group. So if you're filtering through these cards, you're like, wow, there's one in Fort Collins. Dr. Wallace all day. Send it to him. I'm sure he'd be happy to give the talk, right? But this one happened to be in Boulder. We set it up. Sent it over to him. You can just send it to him at the beginning. You don't have to do the work. Just, if it's too far away, find a doc that is willing to do it. Hopefully they're in the AMP group, right? And maybe if they're not, you can inspire them to get into the AMP group. And be like, how did you do this? Right?
Exactly. How did you learn how to do this? Through AMP.
That's right.
Yep.
So we've seen a few other things as well with the cards. Some of them don't have emails.
Oh, yeah.
When they don't have an email, we do call them up. And we keep it very, very basic. We try not to go into the details. We just like, hey, you place your card in the Subway Fishbowl. I just want to let you know that you did win. I wanted to shoot you an email with the specifics. What's the best email to reach you at? We don't want to start getting into the details on that phone call because most of the time they're going to have to talk to the manager. They're going to have to reach out to everybody and say, hey, you want to do this? So just get the email. Keep it as basic as you can when you're on the phone with them.
Yeah, definitely.
And besides that, everything if they're not responding, everything's going to filter to the dinner eventually.
Yeah.
And honestly, you're putting out so many fish bowls. If you're going to get the resistance,
yeah,
it's not worth your time. Move on. There's a lot more fish in the sea. Right? So people that we reached out to, once we reach out to them, we send the three emails to, weekly emails to try to set up the health talk. If they don't respond, we send the 2 for the comp eval. Then we put them in our dinner campaign. If they're done, they're done. You can decide how long you want to do it. But we just seen that they're not going to respond after 5 emails.
Yeah.
Is it really worth your time?
Yeah, exactly. So you get a lot of great leads, and it turns into dinner leads. And so there's always something that's going to be coming from these cards that you're collecting in these bowls for sure. Yeah.
So yes, this has boosted us a lot just because we can keep track of everything. So just a quick bullet point review. Send your first email. It's all pre-populated. As people respond to you, pull them out. Now you're always going to put them in whatever day you want to follow up with them. Typically 7 days is a good amount of time, right? So if they respond, pull them out, put them into pending, do your negotiations with them, and then give your talk. The people who didn't respond, send that following Tuesday, send the next email. And it's just a progression. So you'd be sending the second email to these people, and you'd send the first email to the other 50. If we got 100 cards, 50 today and 50 next week, we'd be sending email number 2 to 50 people if nobody responds, and then 50, the first email to 50 more people. So it gets to the point where on a Tuesday morning, you're going to be sending first emails, second emails, third emails, comp evals, second comp evals. And the great thing is it takes me 20 minutes. Yeah. Because once you, the first day when you type it in their email address, it takes a little time. Yeah. But then you type in the first 3 numbers and the whole thing, it's just the first three letters of their email, and the whole thing pops up. You just press enter. So the second, third, fourth, fifth emails go very, very fast. So it really doesn't take a lot of time to do this. If you can put in a half hour or 20 minutes to a half hour every Tuesday, you can really boost your health thoughts.
Yeah, definitely.
Any questions, you can always tag me, Dr. Gabriel Long, on the AMPS page. More than happy to answer any questions. It's been extremely fruitful. I'll be really excited to see what comes of all this. Yeah, it's been really great. We've had so many people coming in, and not just the people coming in themselves, bringing in their families as well. I've offered so many guest tours and so many comp evals to people bringing in their entire families. So again, it's base hits, and then it turns into so much more. Yeah, it's truly wonderful. All right, well, thank you for taking us through all this, Dr. Gabriel. Thanks.